bunnies, it's your Queen Bee. So I have had the weirdest week, and I know this video is not going to come out until like a month later, but if you don't know, maybe you haven't watched my previous video, my mom broke her thumb. Actually, she like tore all the tendons inside, and she like dislocated it, and it's just a bad deal. But yeah, the day that happened, I was at work. So I'm going to tell you a work story because, so story time, by the way, this is the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me at work. I have worked at the comic shop since middle school. I have worked there since I was 14, and this has never happened before. Like, sometimes we get people, and please don't do drugs, kids. It is not a good thing to do. It's not fun. I've never done any drugs before, but like, I know people who have, and they are messed up. I'm gonna tell you this story because if anything, if I ever did drugs, I would like think back to this and be like, I don't want to do that. No thank you. I am perfectly fine how I am, and I like that. So I don't want to ruin anything. Plus military, you can't do that stuff, otherwise you get out, and that's not okay. So I was at work. I work on Saturdays. While I was at work, it was me and my boss, and I'm not going to say his name, but everyone at the comic shop, like, we all have the first name, like, with M in our name, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm just gonna call him Mr. Boss Man, just because I want him to have some privacy, and, yeah, so Mr. Boss Man, my favorite person ever. We're just, like, working, he's at his computer, and just to give you an idea, there's an L shape, so his desk is here, and that's where the customers go to check out. That is like where all of our stuff is, and then on the other side is a glass like showcase, and it has like a sliding door in the back and everything. And normally I work at the glass showcase like on the edge, just so that I am kind of blocking newcomers from coming around there, just because, like, you know, just to have a divide. So I'm basically a divider, and yeah, so I try to safeguard that little area, and I'm there. So my boss is over here, I'm over here, and this guy comes in, and we have two doors. So we have we have three doors, but it's summer and it was hot, so we just had two of them. One is a big door that, you know, we close to keep the cool air in, and then we open just because breeze, I don't know. It's weird. It's just whatever my boss is feeling that day. So we have that big door, and then we have one before that is actually like a little like open door, like it's kind of like the doors I have at my house. It's so hard to explain. It's a big glass door. So you have a big glass door and then a big door, and then you walk a little bit, and there's our door, which is like just a normal like white door. So my dog is like hobbling in here. Oh, by the way, I'm at my mom's house. I just changed locations, and now all my dogs are coming in here. But yeah. So, hi Brownie. I completely forgot what I was saying. Okay, so there's three doors, there's two doors, and so what happened was this guy, he walks in, so we hear the first door open. Well, my boss is like very oblivious. Oh my god, dogs. So my boss is very oblivious. So after the second door opens, it comes into our little shop. I just kind of like looked up, and I was bagging and boarding, so I was taking old comics, taking them out of the older bags and boards and putting them into new ones I had made up. So I was doing that, and I was just like, I had a rhythm going, I was like doing good, and then I look up and I'm like, oh my god. And I don't judge people, I really try not to judge people. This man looked like he was out of like that cartoon on Adult Swim with the fry and the meatball thing. I don't even know what it's called, but the big man, I think his name is Bob or Bill. He looked like that. He had a wife beater on. It was just all drenched in sweat, and just like, it was disgusting. And it was like a orangish yellow gross color, and the only spot that was pure white was where his belly button was, where you could see the sweat hadn't gotten to that point. It was the grossest thing ever. So I'm just like trying to work faster. I'm like, I am going on a break. I want to leave. And my boss is like just typing away at his computer, like trying to search something up. And I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything. He can figure it out. So my boss finally just like looks up from his computer, and he just like, oh, hello sir. And this guy is just beet red, like worse than my face. My face is very red, is like as red as his shirt. He was worse than that, just sweating to death. He looked like he had just gotten out of a lava pit or something. Like he was on fire. And I was like, oh my god. And like looking at his eyes, they looked like dried out. They looked like just bad. Like not bloodshot, but like really, really dry. Like you could just touch his eye and he wouldn't feel anything. Like it was disgusting. So he looked like, just, it was bad, like a cartoon almost. So he just like, he was so weird, and I don't like saying that. I know this is like supposed to be like a funny story, and it's very funny, but I don't want to sound like bad by saying it. So I'm trying to be as nice as I can. This guy looked cracked out. Like, I'm just gonna put it bluntly. If you've ever seen someone on crack or meth, like, that's very prominent around my state. Like, especially down south where I am. Just all cracked out. And I was like, oh my god. So, he looked like someone that I would have gone to school with, but like an older version, and I was like, I don't want to be here. And I was just trying to work real fast, and I was like, oh my god. So I kept trying to like inch away from him. And he just goes up to my boss and he goes, I got something to sell to you. And he was just like sweating as he was talking. He was just drenched. And my boss was like, where? And before he could even say, where is it? Because that's like his normal like thing. Like if people come in to sell stuff, he's like, okay, well, do you have the product with you? Like, what are you trying to sell? The guy was like, it's at my house. We were expecting him to say it was at his car. And my boss just instinctively goes, where's your car? And he goes, hold on a second. And everyone, like, we were both like, what's going on? So, this guy, he goes out the first door, then goes to the second door, and before the second door can even, like, shut, he comes back in. And we're just like, what? And he had a cell phone. And we were just like, okay. He had big, and he was a bigger guy, he had big chesticles, for a man. So, he just, like, reaches in his, like, wife beater tank top, and just pulls out a hanky and just starts patting his face, and he's just like sweating to death. And he's got this phone he's looking at. It's like a flip phone, one that like I used to have, and he's just like looking at it, and he puts it in his shirt, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm just like working real fast, like I gotta get out of here, I want to go on break. And I don't have a designated break, it's just whenever I want to I go on break, and I very rarely ever go on break because nothing like this happens, not normally. So my boss is just like dumbfounded, and I'm just like speed running, just trying to get all my stuff done so I can just go to the back and just not deal with this. So my boss was like, what is it you're trying to sell? And he was like, I don't have it with me. And my boss was like, okay, do you know what the product is? And this guy, I'm trying to compose myself to where I can actually say it without laughing. He just goes, I got something to sell to you. My boss is like, okay, go on. And while this goes back and forth, he finally says what he has to sell. He says, I'm so sorry. He says, my boss is like, what do you have to sell? And the guy responds with, badoinkadoinks. And I lost my composure. I was like, oh my god, I started smirking, and I'm like, I can't look at him, I'll start laughing, and I was already smiling, because I smile a lot, and I was like, I can't, so I was like, ah, and I was trying to work so hard to just get out of there, and my boss just like, looks at me, and I'm like, don't look at me, man, you're gonna break me down. I'm like, I can't. Oh my god, I'm joking, I'm sorry. And this guy he kept just repeating the word. He was like, I got some badoinkadoinks to sell to you. My boss was like, what? And he was like, badoinkadoinks. And I was like, oh my god. Every time he said it, I died. I was like, what's going on? And I know it probably doesn't sound that funny, but just like hearing this guy like sweating, and he's just like a bigger man, and he just like looks like that guy, and him saying badoinkadoinks like in a very aggressive and angry tone, it just killed me so much. And I'm just like, oh my god. So I was like crying, like, oh my god, this is too good. And he was just like getting really, really aggressive to the point where my boss was like, okay, so he stopped doing his computer stuff, and he's like, sir, what is it? And he just kept saying badoinkadoinks. And my boss kept looking at me, and I'm like, don't. And I was like, almost done. I almost hit the wall, but no. I was almost done doing my little bagging and boarding, and this guy walks around the L shape over to me, and I'm just like, no. So I'm like going around the counter at this point where we're like facing each other, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want him to bother me. And oh my god. Well, what provoked him to come near me, I guess I should have like kind of explained. What happened was I had said, because I was getting so tired of him saying badoinkadoinks, and I said to him, sir, is it an action figure? And he just goes, it's a badoinkadoink. I'm like, oh my god. So he started coming closer to me, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. And so, okay. My boss was like, sir, come back around over here. Don't bother her. Come over here. I will show you my laptop. You type it in, please. Just go away from the counter. The guy was like, no, I want to come behind the counter. And he was trying to get in the middle of me and my boss, like, to separate us. And I was like, no. So I was, like, moving closer to my boss. And my boss was like, sir, please, come over here. I don't want you near my employee. And I was like, I don't feel safe. I was, like, trying to do my work. And I was, like, slowly creeping into the back room. Because I was like, I don't want to be here. And my boss was like, finally got him to come over to the other side where he was originally. And my boss was like, here's the computer, just show me what it is. And the guy kept saying angrily that it was called badoinkadoinks. So me being the ditzy person I am, I opened my mouth again and I said, is it a play set? And he goes, yes, it's a badoinkadoink play set. And I was like, my mouth is closed. I'm not saying another word because you are crazy. And he takes out this hanky, and he's doing this the entire time, but just this time he takes it out and he's just like dabbing it very like just super aggressively, and then he puts it down on the counter. I clean every morning. If I don't do it in the morning, then I do it before I leave. And I had just cleaned, and he goes and puts this nasty towel that he's been sweating on, and it was in his chest and on the counter. And I was like, oh my god. And I stopped. I literally stopped what I was doing. And I was like, ugh. I looked so defeated because my boss noticed. And he noticed what had happened. He was like, sir, can you please remove the hanky? And the guy was like, fine. So he picked it up and he starts going like this. And just slung everything everywhere. And it looked like he had some chew. And if you don't know what it is, good. It looked like he had some like tobacco product that he had been spitting out into it because it was just brown and gross and just everywhere. Oh my god. I was like just disgusted and dumbfounded. I was like, what is going on? Why? Just why? And just this guy, he was just so red-faced. He kept saying badoinkadoink. And I was like, oh my god. So my boss finally figured out after like 20 minutes or 30 minutes of him being there. It felt like an eternity. It felt like hours, but I don't think it could have been that long. After him being there, and then my boss finally figuring out, I thought someone was at the door, but there weren't. My dogs are just freaking out for no reason. They're like staring at me now, like, why didn't you get the door? There's no one there. So where was I? So my boss finally figures out what he was talking about was a Spider-Man playset. And I don't know what the exact name was, but I can assure you it was not called badoinkadoinks. So while my boss was finally figuring out, he was like, okay, here is a Google image, like on eBay, is this what you're talking about? And the guy was like, yes, the badoinkadoinks. And I'm like, oh my god. He said that so many times. And I was just like, oh my god, please leave. And he was like, I have 6 of them. And my boss was like, okay, let me figure out a price for them, how much I would give you. And he figured it out, and he was like, dude, they're only worth like $2. Like, people are selling them on eBay for like $4, but that's with free shipping. Like, I can only do $2, and I really don't want them. And he was like, no, you're wrong. I know how much they are. I know what they are. And my boss was like, oh, okay. Because he didn't want to argue, because he was like, I really don't want him in here anymore. And the guy was like, I know that they are all worth $6,000 each. And me and my boss looked at him and was like, oh my god, it's one of those people. And working at a comic shop, people come in all the time thinking that they got something. They don't. They don't. The people who really do have something, you can tell because they don't compose themselves like that. So yeah. This guy was like, I know what I have. I know it's worth $6,000 each. And my boss was like, well, I still don't want it. So you can go to a professional and have them take it off your hands. And he was like, just cursing up a storm, and I was like, oh my god. So I was just like there with my boss, because I was like, I don't want to like abandon him in this situation in case things get a little hairy. I want to be like witnesses and stuff. Even though we have cameras, I just was like, be better to have witnesses. So the guy finally left after screaming and hollering for so long. And my boss looked at me and he was like, my boss looked at me and he was like, he must have been so cracked out that he didn't know where he was, because he actually acted like we were like a Chicago big shot like comic book store, even though we're just like a small town little people from Texas even come to us. But like, besides the point, he was like, I don't want people like that in my store. And he was so polite the entire time, and I was just like, I just want to work. So I was like trying to do my work, and thankful we had like an hour or so of just like peace and just nothing else until something else happened. And I will wait until the next video to tell you guys, because this was a crazy weekend for me and I just have so many stories. I swear that the next video is going to be the last comic book story for this day anyways. I know they're posted on different days, but like for me recording it, because I'm at my mom's house and I don't want to make too many videos like of the same topic in the same location and outfit, because that'd be a little weird. I don't want to be like copying the same thing every day. But this story's funny. This story I just told you was funny, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it, because I can't even say Badoink without laughing, because I just picture that man in like the cartoon, and I'm just like, why are people so crazy? He was on very many drugs. He was on all the drugs, I think. So my main lesson for you guys listening, if you made it this far, don't do drugs. Drugs will ruin you. They will make you crazy and think that you have Badoinkodoinks to sell, when you really just have little kid Spider-Man playsets that were actually probably his son's, and he just wanted to buy more dope with it. So that's also bad parenting. Don't do that. So I think with all that being said, don't forget to give this video a like, make sure to subscribe. I post videos every single day except for the weekend, and because obviously I have work. It's crazy, but yeah. And I think with all that being said, make sure to follow my social medias, my TikTok, my Twitter, my Instagram. I think that's all I have for now. And yeah, without further ado, thanks for stopping by. Love you.